When I look into the future of America's sort of spiritual growth, I will say one thing I see a lot of you guys, and just pay attention to this, is I do see a lot of cults forming, or religious organizations that are going to say the world's coming to an end. It's not, you guys. It's really not. Or that say you have to follow me. I'm the only one that has all the answers. You've heard this story before. This is kind of the tale that's old as time. Use your own intuition a lot when you're seeing things that you don't understand, or when your intuition is starting to grow. Energetically, what I see within the leadership of the world is that there's kind of two different agendas. I do feel as though the overarching agenda around the world leaders is shifting, and it's almost like there's two different push and pull, two different agendas going on here. And that is a little bit of what we're seeing among the conflict among the leaders. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to see you. I'm Jill Thomas from A Little Bit of Woo. We're going to have some fun today. So, right now, I feel like the energies of the world are very much in flux. We are seeing a lot of very positive improvements. People are shifting how they look at the world. They're also starting to get a lot more intuitive information. So, I would say, in general, people's BS meter is starting to get turned on high. People are starting to really understand when they're hearing and seeing things that just aren't true. They're starting to really tune into that. I do feel like the current US president, Donald Trump, is showing people a lot of kind of behind the scenes of what's going on within the world. I think a lot of us didn't know how many people were on food stamps, just to give you an example, until he wanted to take those things away. And then we all started wondering, okay, well, what percentage of my state is on food stamps to begin with? And starts asking the questions, why is this still happening? So a lot of people are getting a lot of information like that now because of the chaos that's happening, and they're starting to really ask questions that they didn't ask before. So that's what I see a lot with what's going on in the energies of the world. Energetically, what I see within the leadership of the world is that there's kind of two different agendas. There's what some people might say are the good agenda, and some people might say it's the bad agendas. In a movie, it would be considered the good guy versus the bad guy. In reality, the way spirit looks at it is they don't necessarily see as one as good and one as bad. It's just two different ways of approaching a problem. I do feel as though the overarching agenda around the world leaders is shifting, and it's almost like there's two different push and pull, two different agendas going on here. And that is a little bit of what we're seeing among the conflict among the leaders. They want to approach the world in one way, and another set of leaders wants to approach the world in another way. And we are going to be seeing, I hate to say it, we are going to be seeing some conflict around that, because there is a different opinion among the leaders about how the world should be shaped moving forward. I have people express concern that this event is going to cause massive destruction, and I'm just not seeing that. If that's what's happening, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing that we do get hurricanes. I do see that we're going to have an earthquake coming. I do see those events happening, but I don't see them being connected necessarily with 3i Atlas. Those things will occur independent of it. There may be a group of people that blame it on 3i Atlas, because that's kind of how we always do it, right? We always look at something to blame. But if you really, if you think about it, we do get hurricanes in Florida all the time. We do get earthquakes. We live on the earth. And sometimes things are flying by the earth. When it happens, it doesn't mean that's connected. When people ask about weather events, things like fires, earthquakes, flood, natural events, earthquakes, and things of that nature, hurricanes, the question is often, is this part of the Earth's awakening, or is it random? I can say that it's kind of both, right? Part of it is that our environment has changed, has shifted. I will also say there were times in history where fires occurred and there was nobody around to document it. So it's not as though these things are elevating. I mean, they are escalating for sure, but I would say that a lot of us are here and we're seeing things in places that we didn't see them before. And like I said, everybody has a camera in their purse now and they can record these things. I don't necessarily feel as though it's all part of the Earth's personal evolution. I do feel as though it is, climate change. I do feel it as though we are in places that we haven't been before. We're driving cars on places in the tundra that didn't have cars before, that always had ice. We're in places and environments that were not part of the history even just 90 years ago, right? We're flying planes all over. There is an impact for those kinds of events and that kind of situation. Can we reverse it? Yes, but are we going to in the near future? I don't feel that is going to happen in the near future. I think we have a little bit of evolving to do, and I do feel that we are going to be seeing more fires, more water events, more hurricane type events. Earthquakes will happen. I can't really say if there'll be more earthquakes than there have been before. I do know that we have better ways of documenting it than we did before. So it may appear as though it's happening at a much higher rate, when in reality it's just that there's now a sensor where there didn't used to be a sensor. So it's hard to say on that, but I don't necessarily feel as though it's part of the Earth's personal evolution. When I look into the future of America's sort of spiritual growth, I will say one thing I see a lot of you guys, and just pay attention to this, is I do see a lot of cults forming, or religious organizations that are going to say the world's coming to an end. It's not, you guys, it's really not. Or that say you have to follow me. I'm the only one that has all the answers. You've heard this story before. This is kind of the tale that's old as time. Use your own intuition a lot when you're seeing things that you don't understand, or when your intuition is starting to grow. Don't necessarily go join a commune. Start to do your own research. Join perhaps a small group of people that can help you grow that intuitive gift. But just know that at the end of the day, it's really on you. You don't have to go to ask someone else how to do it. You can grow a lot of these gifts yourself. You can find meditation tools on the internet. The reason I'm cautioning people though about the cult thing is because I absolutely do see a lot more of these forming than have formed in the past. We've always had them, but I'm seeing a lot more, and I want you guys to be careful. If your intuition is popping, it doesn't mean you need to go join a retreat in Sedona, although those are great. It doesn't mean you need to join a group or sign up or anything. You can just start to develop it on your own, and that's usually the best way to start. The relationship between the US and some nations is going to be a little frosty for a while. Let's be honest, some countries are still really mad. I think Canada is going to be friends with us again a little bit sooner than, let's say, China. Uh, but I think things being rough much of 2026. I do feel like Vance is going to be the next president. And as Vance being the next president, I just don't feel that he's going to improve relations between countries quickly. I think it's going to take some time for things to come back. But China is a frustrating one, because I do feel as though they're quite angry at us. They feel like they've been treated with disrespect, the same way as Korea. My goodness, we did something very disrespectful to the employees of Hyundai when they were here helping us create a new electronic vehicle plant. It was very sad. That is going to take some time to improve. But for now, I feel as though the US for the last of 2025 and much of 2026 is going to be a bit isolated in a bit. We've kind of like the bully that pissed off all of our friends, and it's going to be a little slow for them to come back. But I do feel those relationships will improve with the next administration. I don't mean the next president, which I think is going to be Vance, but I feel as though the next administration, we're going to be seeing an improvement in relations. I do see new treaties and new contracts happening later, but in the meantime, the US will have lost some money, because Canada in particular, who is our closest ally, Mexico as well, I know that, might be buying or selling their products to other countries rather than selling to us. And it is going to work out in their favor. And we're going to be wishing we still had a really good friend in Canada. So when I say that, I will say that most Americans don't feel that way. We love Canada. We love them. We love Mexico, right? But the administration has definitely been treating other countries and other nations with a level of disrespect that is quite shocking. And I do feel a lot of Americans are very upset about that. And it's going to take a little time for those relations to improve again. That's for sure. I know a lot of people are feeling very uncertain, particularly with AI causing what they're saying is causing job losses. I mean, let's be honest. Some of these job losses that they're claiming are AI are actually just the company trying to make a bigger profit, as they always do. But when people are experiencing these fears, just understand that this is part of the game. I would encourage everyone who's genuinely concerned about their job and their situation to look at creating new streams of income for themselves. I mean, you have a channel that you're generating income from. Each one of you guys watching this has something that you're excited about. Maybe it's a side passion. Maybe you can figure out a way to earn some coin doing that. I would just encourage you to stay away from watching the television. If you're uncomfortable with the world, stay away from the narrative because it is a story that's being told over and over again. And quite frankly, the news's job isn't to report the news, it's to sell product. They're selling the commercials that come in between the news, and you're much more likely to buy something that you see on that TV show if you're scared. So just know that is part of the game. I would encourage people, though, to start to create things for themselves that are separate from just their job. Look at investing, looking at side hustles, looking at ways of getting 3 or 4 forms of income, writing a book. I'm not going to say that's the best way to make money. Personally, I know from experience that it's not, but I can tell you that it's the thinking like that, thinking in terms of what else can I do to draw in more revenue streams will help you feel more comfortable. Use the energy that you would be using to be freaked out about what's going on and turn it into something that can make you some money. And trust me, that whole process can be really, really fun if you embrace it. One thing I see AI doing especially well is helping within the healthcare field. I do feel as though they will be using AI, particularly with genetic engineering, to come up with new cures or new things that look maybe even just a little bit like a vaccine. There's certain words YouTube won't let us say. We all know that. Things that can help prevent illness or injury. I know the other thing I was seeing them doing, especially in the next 10 years, probably sooner, is they're going to be using a lot in air traffic control. They figured out that they can actually figure out where the planes are much more easily than a person can, and it will make things more safe. We are going to be seeing more advancements in self-driving cars. We are going to be seeing more advancements in doing occupations that are actually unsafe or less safe for humans to be doing. We're going to be seeing more of these vehicles, these autonomous vehicles, driving places that it's not really terribly safe for a person to go. And if something happens to a self-driving car and nobody's in it, that's fine. Who cares, right? It's just a little bit of money. But a lot of the technology that I'm seeing will be used for, on a positive front, medical improvements, improvements in transportation. We are going to be able to move more safely. I do see truck driving, particularly the truck driving industry, being in a little bit of trouble later on because they are going to figure out how to autonomously drive those big rigs in a way that's actually safer for than a lot of the truck drivers. So people are going to be finding different occupations. On the flip side, I know everyone's hearing about this idea that AI is going to take your job, and I understand people being scared of that. I would just encourage you to look around and realize that every time that has happened in history, there's always been some new kind of job to replace it. So we used to have these massive call centers that would with women answering the phone all day long and switching little cords to get the phone to a new place. All those people got jobs in new industries. We are going to be seeing some occupations that really do need a person in front of you. I don't see doctors going away. I really don't, because that personal touch, that ability to talk to someone is something that we all want to experience. And frankly, AI can't interpret how someone feels very well, at least right now. And when you're typing in your symptoms, you guys have tried it. You've typed in something in Google and you get an answer that makes no sense, right? But a person could kind of say, well, I think I've heard of that. I think I know what that might be. We aren't going to be losing everyone, is what I'm saying. Uh, but I do see some occupations where AI will have significant improvements and make things quite a bit safer, particularly within the transportation industry. Absolutely. One thing I would say to people right now is I know it's hard, don't get too caught up in the political situation. We get caught up in this idea that one political leader is going to save us and one political leader is going to cause our downfall. It's not true. You save you. You're the one who's going to save yourself. I want you to think about that when you start to feel as though somebody's doing something to you, or or the thing that you want to happen is not going to happen because somebody's got a different agenda. Decide for yourself that everything's going to be fine and focus on what matters to you, because there are some things you're going to be able to change and there's going to be some things you're not going to be able to do anything about, and you're going to drive yourself crazy and focus way too much on the crazy stuff going on in the world, but missing the opportunities that are right in front of you. Your chance to have all the things that you really want. Trust me, every one of you guys watching us right now, some of you are seeing what's going on politically and thinking, this means that something bad's going to happen to me. A whole big chunk of you guys are going to have only good things happen as a result of the current administration. But you're missing that by focusing so much on the negative. Turn off the TV, go for a walk, think about that book you want to write, and consider that raise, and maybe pick out the next house you want to have. Whatever the thing is that you really want, just know that you can have it within this current environment. Nothing's been taken away. It's all still available for you. And it's going to be just fine. I promise. It's going to be just fine. Trust me. The role of forgiveness and compassion in changing frequency. I love to think about compassion as the highest vibrational frequency there is. When it comes, though, to forgiveness, these are two kind of separate things. Compassion is, I love you, you're my neighbor, you're important to me, you matter. Now, having compassion doesn't necessarily mean I say, hey, go ahead and park your car on my lawn and steal my stuff, right? Compassion sometimes means, I'm not going to allow you to do that bad thing that you shouldn't be doing. And if you do, eventually I'm going to forgive you, not because it's good for you, but because when you're allowing yourself to forgive some action that was taken against you, when you're allowing yourself to say, look, the book is closed on this. This is a bad day. Think of like being angry at someone is almost like having a bad debt. You know, somebody owes you money and you know that they're never going to pay you back. Rather than continuing to perseverate or focus on that bad debt, this guy owes me money. The universe owes me this thing. This bad thing happened. It has to pay me back. Allowing yourself to say, you know what? I'm going to release that energy. I'm going to let it go. It's not coming back. It's going to have to come back to me in a different way than just by justice being done. Because I know for a lot of people watching this, particularly some women, uh, justice may never be done for what has happened to you in your life. Your job is you'll feel much happier if you can find a way to let it go and move on and create something better in spite of what has happened. So it isn't about saying that what happened was okay. It's about saying, I'm no longer going to put energy into that dead thing. It's almost like a dead branch on a tree. I'm just going to cut it off and let it go, and have compassion for the person who's going to have to eventually pay the consequences by what happened after they pass, because we go through a life review and we do have to experience all the good and the bad that we've created in the world. And just know that compassion, having the compassion to say they're going to have to experience all the bad that they did to me. Yeah, we can just let the universe be the final judge and jury on that and let it go and move on to our own things. You can absolutely connect with me on my podcast, or I'm sorry, on my YouTube channel, A Little Bit of Woo Woo. I also have a website. It's jillkthomas.com, which has all the links to all my things, and you can make an appointment and do a personal reading if that's something that's interesting to you. And if not, you can still see me on the YouTube. I have my own channel and I love it. And watching videos like this can help you get ideas about what you're going to be doing for your next things. And that just makes me really happy.